All right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast where we talk about everything going on in sports. And we have shifted the focus to saying good things about our teams to how do we fix our teams? That's kind of where we're both at, which is, I guess, nice as a podcast because all four of us are in the same boat. Sundays are not pleasant, and then we talk about it on Tuesdays, and hopefully we can fix it. We're going to start with the Niners because they're driving me insane. So my thought is there's something has to shift. And there's obviously people talking about firing Kyle, but it's hard when you've had as much success as he's had, even though his success is equaled perfectly. Like he either goes to the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship game, or he has a losing season. So he's very like we're on a roller coaster ride with Kyle. But my idea is taking the reins of the roster from him. Will that help the Niners? Because to me, he kind of jumped the shark a little bit with this year with the Ayuk contract and some of these things where then he comes on and says our team's not the same as it was last year. Well, it's like, dude, you're the coach that's signing all the players, so you pick the team and you're deciding who to pay. So my thought is if we take that's one good change. Brother Bill, I'm going to start with you. Is taking the reins of basically GM from Kyle going to solve our problems next year?
Well, if you're talking about what to do with the season this year, the play calling has to change. And I don't believe that's going to mean because there is not an offensive coordinator. I mean, I don't see him saying, okay, let someone else call the plays, because if they haven't done it by now, that's just not going to happen because they don't have anyone on their staff. He is the offensive coordinator. So unfortunately, in my opinion, that would be probably if anything, the best way to try to salvage the season is the play calling. In terms of player personnel, his substitution pattern or who he plays at the start of the game, I would have said, make sure you give some more carries to Mason, but now he's out for the year. And if Dorinda's going to be now the starting running back, he's a rookie. Sure, I mean, you can do some things with him as a rookie, but I believe it all comes back to play calling. I mean, there was talk I just saw today about possible, again, it's just someone's random thought about bringing in Austin. I can't remember his last name. Used to be with Atlanta, another tight end to help Brock Purdy out. So if you're talking about who to personnel change to try to get someone on the team, to me that seems like more of a John Lynch decision rather than Shanahan. But the play calling has to change, in my opinion, offensively, if they have any shot of trying to salvage the season, which will maybe moot issue anyways, because I don't think 9-8 is going to get them in, assuming they can even get, four more wins out of the next six games. I just believe that ship sailed.
Yeah. All right, Brother James, from an outsider / hater perspective, what do you think? What do you think helps the Niners?
Well, see, hater. I'm not a Niner hater. I'm a Niner fan hater.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, but I think for one, the coach shouldn't be deciding who they get. His job is to develop and call plays. And so I think that y'all's problem is bigger than getting new people and who people, because y'all had enough people to do whatever it is y'all was trying to do. I hate to say it, but I agree with Brother Bill as far as the play calling, timely decisions on certain plays and who do you put the weight on as far as running the ball or who you gonna have try to carry the team. But then it goes back to another thing what Deke said about Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but he's mediocre. And if you look at y'all's situation and you put Tom Brady in that situation,
I'll take that.
Aaron Rodgers maybe in his younger
I'll
days.
say not now. I don't want him.
his younger days, uh, Joe Montana, anybody. They can put the team on their back and make something happen because of who they are as being that type of quarterback. Brock Purdy is, as long as you have the weapons, is a great quarterback. But without the weapons, he's just mediocre. And that's something that's been proven. Now, would I take him on the Raiders team? Sure, I would, because he does move out of the pocket and he can, he's pretty accurate with the passes. So I'm not knocking him as a quarterback at all. I just think that, y'all's play calling could be 120% better, and that might help you guys. But the season is over.
So when you say the problem's bigger than the players, you're saying it's the coach and the play calling.
I think y'all's problem is the coach and the plays that he's called. Because you look at you look at y'all's game, y'all do good in the first half. Then the second half come and it's like a whole different team that came from the locker room. No adjustments made during halftime. Because you have to change it up. Unfortunately, but the deal of it is y'all are so, you guys have always been solely reliable on Debo Sanders, Debo, Christian McCaffrey, and IU. Y'all pay a lot of money and he don't even. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out.
Me too.
His work, and so I think it's the play calling would help you guys a whole bunch.
Did you guys watch the Texas A&M game?
No, I did not.
Oh, so A&M, their offense is horrific. The 7 points they got was a pick six and stuff, and it was very exciting. But they would get down into the red zone, and they would run the ball every time and just get stuffed. And I don't care about either one of these teams. I'm screaming at the TV, stop running the freaking ball. Stop running the ball up the middle. And they call timeout, and this is huge. To run the ball up the middle. That's what it feels like what the Niners do. The Niners get down like inside the 10, and it's like, oh, we're going to run the ball in the middle. It's like, stop running the ball in the middle. Everybody knows you're going to run the ball in the middle. You got to do something else. Deacon Hill, again, from an outsider's perspective, what do you see as a solution to our mediocrity?
There is no solution.
Dang it, that's not what I want to hear.
I knew that. I was going to say, you could have just gone on the next question. He's not going to have any recommendations or
There's no
insights. Come on.
There's no solution.
He was just sitting there waiting for his turn.
Chopping at the bits, just chopping, listening to my fellow Raider, just trying to, I agree with him. I'm not a Niner hater per se, but it's those fans that just get on my nerves. I mean, look, they're quiet. Like you say, I like your word you use all the time, Brother James. Crickets. It is crickets. I don't get nothing on social media. I don't get nothing. So I'm happy about that. But back to the Niners. What gets me with you guys, first of all, is like when you guys are in the NFC Championship game and all this stuff and headed to the Super Bowl, they bring Lynch out on the field. Oh, he's a mastermind behind all of this and giving him all this credit and everything. Now Joe is want to blame it on the coach. That is he's making the personnel decisions and things like that. So I don't know where you guys go with that. So is it Lynch or is it the coach that's making these decisions? And then you guys need to look at the players need to look in the mirror and look at themselves. You guys always want to blame it on the coach. Oh, it's the play call. No, that the same plays are working. Just like McCaffrey, he had just broke off a run right up the middle for 15 yards or something, and got tripped up. Then the next play he comes out and he hurts his knee. I mean, the best ability is your availability. You guys got so many players hurt. So you need to look at your players. Don't look at that coach. That coach is only calling the plays and giving it to those players. If they can't execute those plays, that's just too bad. Green Bay, back in the day when they should run their little power sweep, they had like 5 plays. Stop it. You know what we're coming with. Stop it. And you couldn't stop it. So you need to look at your players and stop pointing the finger at your coach. It's your player. Your players are almost like your fans. You guys are front runners. When you're out there and everything is nice, sunny day, you guys are good. Get in the snow and it's cold and your pinky finger's hurting. Oh, now we can't play football no more. It's your players. It's the personnel. And you can blame it on Lynch. I blame it on Lynch. He's the GM. He's the one that assembled that team. So, and like you say, you get inside the red zone, then you can't run it. You don't have the personnel to run it in the red zone. McCaffrey, he's good, but he's not a power runner in the red zone. He couldn't do it at Stanford. So you guys need to stop pointing your fingers at your coach and assemble a team that can go and play in any weather, on any field, on any day. Then you'll have a championship team.
How is it you go from it's not
Word.
well, it's the play
Other than
callers
that,
to
you'll be
wait. Early in the season, you were saying when you're critical of the Raiders coach, you were saying that hey, if the coach isn't getting it done, then do something with it. So it seems like your position has changed when we were talking about the Raiders and Antonio Pierce, and you're saying if the coach isn't getting it done, and now it's no, it's not the coach, it's the players. When
Time
you
out,
have a
Bill.
lead,
Can I answer your question?
when you have a lead in the fourth quarter against 3 division rivals, and in all 3 of those games, you have the ball, the clock, and the lead, and you're the genius Kyle Shanahan, and all you have to do is execute 4-minute offense or less, and just to get a couple first downs, and you can't do that in 3 critical games. That's not just the players. If you know it's late in the game, you know there's going to be fatigue on both sides, you've got to call the play of the coach. That's when you earn coaches. The great coaches earn their paychecks when the game was on the line late in the game.
Well, and his record for comebacks is horrific. Like saying we're front runners, it's completely valid because we either win or we lose. We're not coming back in the fourth quarter. We're not doing we're rarely coming. It's either hit or miss with us.
And the fact that we can't come back in the fourth quarter is a problem too, because you even with all that talent, and if the lead is more than 12 points or more, he's like, oh, and something crazy. That's a problem.
He's like 0-40, something insane.
Go ahead, Greg. You're gonna answer my question. Go ahead.
Yeah, your question is you're trying to compare a first-year coach to a coach that has been to the Super Bowl. That's a whole different. You can't compare that to what I was saying about our coach and not having the personnel and things like that. Your coach he's already been there, so he's proven himself as a coach. Our coach had the verdict is still out on this coach, so you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. You have to give him some kind of leadway or whatever. But your coach has already been there. So how are you comparing Shanahan to our coach?
No, but I'm saying you were being critical of Antonio Pierce when you guys were losing, saying that he was the issue with the team. That's what I was saying.
I never said that.
No, Dickens said he may have lost the locker room.
I didn't say he lost the locker room.
Anyways, but getting back to Shanahan and his success to get to the Super Bowl, success to get the NFC Championship is one thing. But when you're in 3 Super Bowls, 2 with the Niners, 1 with Atlanta, you have big leads late in the game and you lose them all, that's a problem. That's coaching. I'm sorry. That's
you guys should really get rid of him. You guys want to get him fired, right? He should be gone, right?
Didn't say that. I said I've been saying all year you need to get an offensive coordinator. I never said fire him. Let someone else call the plays.
I'm on the fence with that just because my thing is his issue. He doesn't do better with the issue that he has. It's fine. It's great when whatever the first quarter normally if everything goes just right and stuff. But that holding a lead, that having a 2-minute offense, that getting down the field. It's the same issue over and over and over again. And we're watching our passing game just get worse and worse and more ineffective. There's no separation rate this year. So Purdy, he's throwing to no windows and he still has decent numbers, which is why I think he's a pretty good quarterback. He's not $50 million a year quarterback, but he's a good quarterback, but there's no windows. There's no wide opens. I'm watching the Denver game last night. Knicks is throwing to wide open people in the field. We never have that.
It's play design. That's why. That's what I'm saying. It's design. How many times have we seen, especially last week in the number of teams, look how well the Bears played against Detroit. Look at how well Cleveland played against Denver last night. You're seeing coaches go into their bag of tricks. You see jet sweeps. You see a lot of different formations because they're just trying to do whatever they can when the game. There's creativity. When Shanahan is in a tight game, he chokes. I'm sorry. There's nothing creative. You know what he's going to do. We as fans know what he's going to do. Defensive coordinator knows what he's going to do. There's nothing to keep the defense off balance.
Your team is designed. It's a version of. I told you guys that before. Bill Walsh, the West Coast. You guys don't run a vertical. You run a horizontal type offense, crossing patterns and things like that. You guys run the jet sweep. You guys try to run the jet sweep a lot, but you can't. Your team is not designed. You don't have the personnel to stretch the field. You guys don't do that. So how are you going to expect your team to try to stretch the field like Denver was stretching? You don't throw. You guys
Easy.
don't have the personnel to do that.
Find the fastest guy on the team, and you find a way to get him in space. I mean, I'm doing it as a fan. I mean, we've seen enough football, college and the NFL, to say, if you know what you've got isn't working, and this is what you want to do, find the player who can execute this play for this situation. You don't have to use them, a lot, just for a particular situation. This is going to be our go-to play when all the chips are down.
Yeah, we don't have
don't have that. He doesn't have that.
All right, we got to shift to the Raiders. This is enough. Deacon Hill, I'm going to come straight to you. So I'm looking at the Raiders, the way they're playing, and I'm looking at how other teams are playing, and I don't think you guys are going to be in the mix for Shedeur, it's a plus and a minus. Like, I don't think, like, unless you guys make a bunch of trades and move up, fine. But I don't think you guys are going to get like that number 1 pick or number 2 pick. You guys look like you're going to be like 5-6, and I don't know if there's like a great quarterback there. So I'm looking at last night. I'm watching Jameis for 99% of his game, and the 1% where he just completely tanked the whole win and everything. But I'm looking around the league at like some potential backups or starters that may be on the move, and I'm thinking like maybe you guys draft a quarterback, but maybe he's more of a project, and then you bring in a veteran. So my question is, what veteran would you want to bring in to be like a real mentor, not a Gardner Minshew, not O'Connell, like a real been around the block, been around a bunch of teams and stuff, mentor to come in and mentor your rookie quarterback next year?
Well, first of all, I think right now we're sitting at number 2, and I don't know. My projection is we're still going to be in the hunt for the number 1 or number 2 pick. I don't see us winning too many games. I actually don't see us winning any games, but we'll be competitive. That's why I like even against Kansas City. We're competitive, but to pull it out, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. So I'm still looking at projecting at a high draft pick, and I'm liking Cam Ward at Miami a little bit better. That's who I'm looking at. But anyway, Shedeur or Cam Ward, I think we'll be in the mix for those. But to answer your question, as a veteran, I'm looking at Pittsburgh and I'm looking at Russell Wilson, and I'm thinking if they don't, depending on what they do, they might try to move on from him and just go ahead with the younger quarterback for the future. And I wouldn't mind bringing in Wilson as a mentor, and I'd try to go that route.
Is he the only one that you looked at? You're like, he'd be a good one to bring in?
Yeah, like you said, Jameis Winston. He's the same Jameis Winston that he's always been.
He's so likable. But man, that last interception last night, it was like, bro, what in the world were you doing? Like, granted, like he did a great job getting the ball to Judy, but the reason he gets picked off is because he tracks the person he's going to throw it to until he throws it to him. It's wild what he does, but man, his numbers, and he's so fun and so likable. But man, he would be an excruciating quarterback to have on your team. Brother James, thoughts on any of the veteran quarterbacks that you could bring in to be a mentor for your rookie quarterback?
Well, I agree with Deke. I think, and this is the reason why I think we're going to get Shedeur. Okay, because it's going to be a package deal.
But the Giants, but the Giants are going to be in the same boat that you guys are. They're going to be moving on from their coach. They're going
to. I think they're going to. I hate it for Antonio Pierce, but I really do think they're going to release him after this year. Because if Tom Brady got anything to do with it, that's what's going to happen. Tom Brady has been mentoring Shedeur, and him and Deion is pretty tight. I think Deion's going to get offered a job, and I think with that, he's going to bring his son along with him. And I think we're going to do whatever it takes to get that first or second pick in the draft. But to answer your question about if that wasn't the case, the veteran quarterback, that I would agree with Russell Wilson.
Do you guys think Pittsburgh will let him go? Because he's playing. They're great right now.
Well, at some point, Pittsburgh is going to have to make a decision on who is going to be the leader of this team. Who are we standing with and standing behind? And you can't make that decision with Russell Wilson because of the fact of the matter, he's got a year or two left, if that. You know what I mean? So you talking about a future of your franchise, and you got this young quarterback who actually played very well. You know, he make rookie mistakes. I mean, you know, young quarterback mistakes, and he's gonna have to do it. And that's how. But you can't learn and get better if you don't make mistakes. And so, I think they're gonna make a hard decision and ride with him. And you know, if they don't let Russell leave, he won't be starting. He'll be doing just like he did this. You know, he'd be backup or this and that. But with him, if he got the way out, I think him as a person would take it and go to the Raiders for a year or two.
Brother Bill, thoughts on who you could see the Raiders bringing in as a mentor to a young quarterback?
Yeah, I think of the teams who likely will not make the playoffs, you know, Dallas, Cincinnati, New Orleans, Chicago, Cleveland, the Jets, Tennessee, Carolina, New England, Jacksonville, Raiders, and the Giants have already been eliminated. So of all those teams who likely won't make the playoffs, if there was any quarterback that I could see as a veteran who could help the Raiders, it would be Joe Burrow with Cincinnati Bengals.
You think they'll trade him?
Burrow, huh?
You think they would trade him?
No. That wasn't the question. I say if you look at what veteran, because I've followed him.
Wait, so let me reframe it. Like realistically, who could they get? Like
who could they get? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crap, if we could get Burrow, I would take him.
Yeah, then
get the Raiders, us.
Yeah, then it's a question of if between back to Pittsburgh where you have either Justin Fields the future or Russell Wilson the now. I agree with Dean Gregg and Brother James that, you know, if they're looking at the future, you know, beyond a couple of years, then Justin Fields is the guy they should ride with, and then that would make Russell Wilson available. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be, man. If you guys got Russ, I mean, even if you got Russ and let Shedeur sit for a year, even if that whole Shedeur thing works out, man, that would be a great get because he's a pro's pro. I mean, he may be a little odd, but he's a dude who knows how to win and stuff. And I thought it's insane when you talk about the combination of coach and quarterback, watching that whole Denver situation split up because you saw them come together, Russ and Peyton, and you're like, these guys suck. And then you're like, is it Russ or is it Peyton? And then they both leave and they're both doing great. They just didn't work together. That's why you would think like one person sucks and one person doesn't, and then it doesn't work out. But like they both sucked and now they're both doing well.
Russ was playing pretty well last year.
Numbers wise, but like visually, you watched it and you're like his numbers are way better than Nick's, and people are talking about Nick's like he's like an MVP. But it's like the visual of losing the game at the end of the game or the fumbling the ball and stuff like that. It's that kind of stuff. Like numbers wise, his numbers were really good, but the visual was like it's like when we had like Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia had great numbers. Jeff Garcia would not win at the end of the game a lot in big games. So in college football, we had a massive 8 overtime game, and a lot of people are talking about how they feel about the college football overtime. So I just wanted to get I watched the whole thing. I'm screaming. I actually like it because it feels like it's got the same energy to me as when a soccer game ends in penalty kicks. And when you're at the World Cup and you're doing penalty kicks, like there's nothing more like exciting than waiting for the penalty kick because it's instant. Like, like right away, it's either in the goal or it's not. And when you run these 2-point conversions, it's a hike and it's either in the end zone or it's. And to me, I loved it, but I wanted to get your thoughts, Brother James. I'm going to start with you. 1, did you watch it? And 2, what do you think of that 2-point conversion back and forth?
I watched a little bit of it. I didn't follow it all the way through because I was working, but I, I'm not opposed to it because in my eyes, I don't believe in ties. Somebody has to win, so I think they should play until somebody wins. Uh, and 2 point conversion, I think that's a good way to do it because that makes you have to stop them. You know, the team who wins is the one that knuckled up and stopped them from getting 2 yards. And so I agree with it. It was I heard a lot of talk about it that it was very exciting to watch, and I'm sad that I missed it. But I agree with the 2 point conversion overtime.
Brother Bill.
I think that after the 2 point conversion, with each successive round of overtime for each team, they should make it more difficult. Because so if right now the 2 point conversion, they have to do it from the 2 yard line, let's say. I can't recall. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know the rules. If that's the second overtime, because the first one it's just you score and then you kick this point. If from overtime number 2 and beyond, it's from they have to go for 2, then for the second round, overtime number 2, do it from the 2 yard line. And then overtime number 3, you should back it up. They can just figure out they should make the 2 point conversion further away from the goal with each round. So in other words, you have to at some point increase the level of difficulty.
Deacon Hill.
Well, I'm totally against it. I'm old school, and I'm like, why do you even? The games are like the game could be like 16-16 at the end of regulation, and end up being 40 to something when I score all these doggone points. Forget all of that. You're getting these guys ready for the NFL. Why don't you play like the NFL? I'm against the doggone 1 foot in bounds. You know, these guys supposed to be professional receivers. They're gonna have to learn how to get both feet down. So they just need to get both feet down. But same thing with overtime. Just like how the NFL do it. They kick off, and if you score a touchdown, the game's over. If the other team get a chance to play, I mean, that's the way you play football. Just getting the ball on the 20-yard line and then score, and then the next team get it on the 20-yard line and they score, and you end up running up doggone, the score is 50-something to 60 or whatever. What the heck was that all about? Get these kids out here, let them play, line up, and kick the ball off and go down the field and score. And if you can score, then the game is over and let's go home. Forget all this putting the ball on the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, and all that. No.
They showed that one score, the one game that had like 5 overtimes, but it was back when they would score touchdowns. It was some LSU versus somebody, and it was like 74-72. It was
exactly. And you're putting the ball on the 20. Forget the 20. Kick the ball off and let's play football and get it over with and go home.
Yeah. That's a good point, because I think the reason why they have the overtime the way they did, we get the 20, was trying to in the game as quickly as possible. I mean, as opposed to because in normal overtime, you have, let's say, a 10-minute period, right, in the NFL. So the thought was take the clock out of it, other than just the play clock, and then it's a matter of which team can stop the other one from scoring. So, but you're right. Yeah, I do think, if they do decide to implement NFL style overtime, then I mean, hopefully, you don't get guys, hurt from exhaustion. But again, the same thing happens when you've got a.
You said they keep lining them up.
Yeah.
Get it over with. Let's go home. I thought the score was 20-20. Now it's 70 to. What the heck was that?
All right, we're short on time, so we don't have enough time to get into the last subject, which was about college football. But it works out well because the championship games are this weekend. Even though I don't think there's going to be a ton that has a ton of impact, it's kind of weird. You have all these. You have the teams in the top 50 or the top 12 that are set for the playoffs, and then the teams that are playing. Unless there's some major upset with Clemson and SMU, I don't think there's anything else is even affected by these championship games. So it's kind of set, but it'll be totally set after this weekend. And then next Tuesday, we'll start off with talking about who looks good and who do we think is going to happen and who's going to go on in the different rounds. Because this is like, to me, we're going to have NFL football, we're going to have NFL playoffs and college football playoffs all at the same time. So I'm going to be a maniac in my house. My neighbors are going to be like, why is he yelling every night? It's because there's football on every night. But, I hope you guys have a good week. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you guys next Tuesday. Hopefully we can talk about a couple wins too, because that would be nice for a change. Raiders win and Niners win. That would be nice. All right, guys, take care.
All right, see you.